To the Springs Radio Real Estate Show. I'm Cheryl Garlock with Colorado Front Range Properties, your host and your realtor extraordinaire. Yes, give me a call, 719-321-7600. I'm here to answer your questions, but you know what? More importantly, I'm actually here to help you buy and sell homes. That is kind of what I do, isn't that right, Andy?
It sure is.
You know, been doing it for a little while.
A long time, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, a few decades.
Yeah,
you know,
like that.
I do think after you start saying 30, I'm not sure I want to ever hit the 40.
No?
Yeah, I'm not sure that sounds too good. You know, I don't have a cane. I still have a lot of spunk and a lot of energy, and I'm not blind. I actually can see, and I know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of good there. But anyway, guys, give me a call at 719-321-7600. I want to help you with your real estate needs. And so does Andy, because he's going to be he is our expert, I should say, when it comes to property management. You know, this show is all about educating you, the consumer, the homeowner, the home buyer, and the investor, and giving you some choice. So this is why we do this show here. And visit us at coloradospringsbesthomes.com. Click on the Extras tab if you want to hear our shows again, or if you want to go ahead and see what's on Property Showcase, or reach out to our guests here. That would be a great place to always go. Now, Andy is with AY Realty, and he's been in the property management business how long?
About 7 years.
About 7 years there. And I want to go ahead and talk to people about, I had that lead-on question earlier about why on earth would anybody hire a property manager? Well, I can tell you, I can probably answer that for you, because I have that personal experience, and meaning I should be hiring them, and I shouldn't be doing it myself. But let's talk about really why, Andy. What's the deal? Why don't they just rent it themselves? After all, they theoretically can just throw an ad in Craigslist.
Yeah, and that's one of the issues right there is folks who rent their home themselves on Craigslist. Usually, almost everybody I talk to, they're underpriced. So they're trying to save a few dollars on property management, but they're not setting the right market price for their rental house. Maybe they heard about the neighbor across the street, how much they rent it for. That's not a good way. We can actually, as a realtor, I have access to the MLS, we can actually run some comparable rentals and set a real market value for your house, and usually get you more than you're going to be able to get on your own.
You know, the other thing I have discovered too, and I actually do get calls from people who are looking to usually rent to own.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm talking to them about either buying a home, or maybe they really do need to rent. And so then they talk about, well, where to go find that. And a lot of times I have to tell them, you have to really be careful with Craigslist. I mean, that still is a good place there, but a lot of times you have to really know how to double check that the owner actually owns the home. In fact, do you know that we've had our listings that are for sale advertised as for rent hijacked and advertised for rent? Oh yeah,
Absolutely, and sometimes it goes really far where somebody gets completely scammed, and they end up paying a deposit and rent on a house that's not really for rent, not really available. You have to be very careful, and it happens on the other side. If you're the landlord, you've just got to be careful when you do use Craigslist. Another reason to use a property manager, because we can screen through the responses we're getting. We know all the scams. We know how to avoid them.
Absolutely there. And I think even if you're a tenant looking for a place to rent, I mean, you guys have a pretty good available inventory and access to that inventory, don't you?
That's right. And if you call a property management company, they're probably going to have something at least in the ballpark of what you're looking for in the area of town you're looking for, and then you get a legitimate listing and a legitimate house for rent.
Yeah, I think that's a really important element there. I actually had that happen with one of my own tenants there, and they actually called me. They told us they wanted to move. I said, okay, fine, you want to move, all right. But then she called me and said, oh, well, they want me to just send them the money in some faraway place, and they let me go see it. Oh, how'd you get in? Oh, they told me the combination.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't get to meet them face to face. That is clue number one, right there. And then sending the money for anything far away, no, that's not good. That's not good there at all. So, but let's talk a little bit more about if they're local, I mean, and obviously, if you're not local, it's pretty hard to manage property yourself. But if you're local, can't they do it on their own? What are some other elements to it besides just the whole marketing part of it?
Yeah, you bet. You'd be surprised how many people out of state manage on their own too. But a lot of local folks will say, well, I'm here in town, and I can go by the house if anything goes wrong. But I'll tell you, you don't understand all the things that are involved in property management. And renting your house out is a risk. Mm-hmm. It's a risk even if you have a property manager, but you're seriously mitigating that risk with a property manager.
You said the key word there. It's all about mitigation. absolutely about mitigation here to your risk there. You know, you got a heck of an asset there with your property there, and you're expecting that property, you know, to come back to you in pretty darn good shape and form. You know, you don't want to have it torn up. I just saw a listing just actually, I think 2 days ago here, where I know that the owners, at the instruction of the listing agent on the property now for sale, had told them, you have to revamp this whole property. And it looked like it. You could tell there were subtle signs that you could tell even after they have the new carpet, the new linoleum, the new paint job there. You could see the subtle signs throughout other parts of the house where, okay, somebody beat this thing up and they abused it and they didn't care.
Yeah, and it's like any investment. Cheryl, if you had the opportunity to invest in a risky stock, would you just throw all your money in that? Or would you say, I need to offset this, I need to build a portfolio to mitigate that risk? And
well,
same thing with renting your home. Hiring a property manager is helping you reduce that risk. Give you an example, the other day I signed a new client. They'd been renting on their own, and you say, well, you know, everything was fine for a couple of years. What's the big deal? If they ever needed it, they could hire a property manager. Well, that's what they did. Now they need it, they hired a property manager, but guess what? They're out a lot of money because they had a tenant who lived in the house rent-free for 3 months. They didn't know how to get rid of them, took them a while to get them out. And they had damage to the home. They're out thousands of dollars, more than what they possibly could have expected in a couple of years they've been managing this property.
that's really important.
And it doesn't take 3 months to evict somebody. That's a private owner who doesn't have the expertise and the knowledge
No,
on how to mitigate that risk and how to get that person out and get that unit turned over quickly.
You know, and the cost for doing a property management services there is not that expensive really in the long run. In fact, it's a whole lot cheaper than you doing it yourself. And I think one of the best reasons to hire somebody professional to do that kind of job is it buffers you, the owner, between you and the tenant. I can't say enough about that buffer, you guys. That's a huge selling point, a huge opportunity, because, you know, basically you get to hire the property manager, act as the police dog. You know, I'm sorry.
You get to be the bad guy when that's needed. And, you know, think about the cost of property management. These folks could have hired a property manager for the last decade and not cost as much money as they cost in this one instance over this last 3 months.
Well, so Andy, I want to ask them I want to ask you, what number can people call you at?
Yeah, absolutely. 719-660-7458.
Okay, great. Hey, you guys want to know how to find and where to find the perfect home for an accurate information? You want to stay tuned here to the Springs Radio Real Estate Show. I'm going to share that with you when we return here. We'll be right back.